Jason, 4 days into camp, it's always hard to tell, exactly where your team is going to be. But given that you have seen them for 4 days, what's your assessment of the BYU offense right now?
We have a really good senior quarterback. We have a lot of skilled players back at the receiver positions that have been catching the ball and making plays. We're solid at the line, but we're still kind of filling in a few spots, solidifying a few things there, and now we're looking to find that rotation at running back, the depth. We feel great with Algie. Obviously, Adam Heaney is going to get quite a few reps, and then Nate Carter's going to have an opportunity to step up, but we still need some other players to emerge there depth-wise.
You may have already answered the question, but what's the biggest remaining challenge you have in the 24 days before Nebraska?
For me personally, is getting our backup QBs ready to play if needed. Otherwise, it's just solidifying just our schemes and our execution across the board. Right now we have a lot of guys on the same page, but we tend to have one or two guys, with a busted assignment. And so it's just a matter of eliminating those mistakes and getting all 11 guys on the same page.
Tanner Mangum has earned high praise from Bronco Mendenhall in comparison to John Beck in terms of the study and the effort that he puts in. You know John very well. How would you assess that comparison of Tanner to John?
It's a fair comparison from the standpoint of they both had really quick releases, and so Tanner has that, real quick release and a strong arm, throws the ball accurate. Is what I love is he carries himself with a lot of poise and confidence in the pocket, and so even though, he's working his tail off to understand the offense, and he may not have all the details with all the schemes, but he just carries himself with such confidence that the guys kind of rally around him and believe in him. And he's been making plays out there. He's learning, every day getting better, but he's had a good, 3 or 4 days of practice now.
Did you anticipate that he would be where he is, at least in terms of how he looks physically and performing physically 2 months off of his mission?
Well, you don't know what to expect physically, and so fortunately when he got right back and I saw him, he looked very similar as when he left. He looked like the same guy, and so he kind of worked out the last several months of his mission to get ready, or as ready as possible physically. And then since he's been back, he's been up here every day studying. He's kind of, like in basketball they call those kids gym rats. He's that kind of guy that's just constantly watching film, out throwing with guys, picking, guys' brains, just, trying to soak everything in. And so he's been putting in the hard work and the time, and you're seeing it out on the field that, for the beginning of fall camp, he's doing pretty well for a kid that's just back from his mission.
Taysom Hill has made quite a leap in terms of completion percentage, and we saw that last year through the first 4.5 games. His completion percentage was way up. Where does he stand right now in terms of accuracy and throwing the football right now?
He's a pretty accurate passer, and he has a good arm strength, and he throws the ball, really well. The big focus right now is just continue to work on throwing guys open, especially in man coverage. When we got man-to-man, throw that guy open and give him a chance to make the play, especially with our bigger receivers. And so that's what we're focusing on right now. But he can really throw a nice ball, really accurate, and has good arm strength, so he can make all the throws out there.
How delicate of a balance is it to manage reps between all four of the quarterbacks that are getting throws in practice right now?
Yeah, right now all four guys are getting reps, and so we'll cut that back as we get closer. The main priority is getting Taysom the work that he needs and enough reps there, and then getting the next guy as many reps as possible so they can continue to compete and emerge for who's going to be our backup this season. And then we'll look to probably narrow that down in 2 weeks. Or, when we're about 2 weeks away from our first game, narrow that down for really the first and second guy getting all the reps, and the third guy just getting sprinkled in.
What's that quarterback's room like behind closed doors with the differing personalities? What are those guys like when you're meeting with all of them?
They're all very smart kids, conscientious, hard workers. At this point, the young guys are just trying to soak everything up, and Taysom has a great leadership opportunity to share the knowledge that he has with those guys, and so he participates really actively in teaching, and the young guys are just trying to soak everything up and take it all in.
How much sleep are you getting right now with the season bearing down?
More an issue with the twins than the season. So, yeah, not just, as much as possible.
You're managing 3 kids. Okay. So does work kind of feel like an escape sometimes?
Hey, I can't be on record. If my wife sees this, with that. But no, I'm as far as football goes, it couldn't be better. You have a senior quarterback who's a great player, and then you have some really talented young guys competing to be your backup. That's a great position to be in because it's just a matter of getting those young guys ready and getting Taysom tuned up. So from that standpoint, things are couldn't be better.
Will the play calling change at all in terms of the number of designated runs for Taysom compared to last year?
Yeah, there'll probably be a little less just as he's matured as a passer, and also, that will scale back in the amount of runs, as well as the called passes that may be turned into runs. I think we'll see less of those because they'll just be getting the ball out, to those second and third options faster and not taking off running as much. But, it's still something he does really well, and so you'll still see it, but it'll just be a little less of it to take that load off of him.
We'll finish with this, and the history speaks for itself. The success of a senior quarterback at BYU, and you've mentioned that a couple of times. Having a senior quarterback is a nice thing. What is it about having a senior that just makes you feel so good?
Well, the guy started in 18 or 20 games, whatever it is, and so he has all those reps and all that experience under his belt. And so when he goes out there, he's seeing everything. He's been there. He's done that. So he's able to play at a really high level, and that's what we're expecting for him is a big senior year, a lot of leadership, and a lot of poise out there.
Jason, thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
BYU football All Access quarterbacks coach Jason Beck, and for the record, he's not going on the record about whether or not work is an escape.